So here we have my Porsche Carrera S. It's a 2006 3.8 litre straight six, 355 brake horse, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.9 seconds. I mean, that's from factory, so I expect that's dipped slightly by now, but midnight blue exterior and a grey interior, which I'll show you a little bit later. But really, I wanted to make this video about any issues and kind of costs I've incurred in 3 years of ownership. I will talk a little bit about the car and how I came to buy it, and slightly interesting, and some of you might find that interesting. So when I first started looking at kind of a sports car, I was looking on Salvage Market and Copart in the UK, and I came across a black Porsche 911, Bulls out black. I always wanted a black Porsche 911, and it went for a really low price. I think it was about 8.5k with auction fees, £8,500, and that was a 2005 Carrera S manual. It had about 96,000 miles on it, and had a bit of damage on it. I didn't see it before I bought it, so I purchased it. I had it put on a low loader and taken to the body shop where I get cars repaired, and I went to see it, and it was in a terrible state, absolutely shot to bits. So I had a dilemma at the time what to do with the car, and so basically the dilemma was, do I put it back on the auction or try and do it up and sell it? I didn't want to keep it, so in the end my brother-in-law, actually, who knows the guy who runs the body shop, D Auto Art in Tilbury, fantastic body shop if ever you need any spraying or body work repairs done, he purchased the car off me for 5k. And this was when I'd already bought this car, which was also a cat car, and offered to fix this car free of charge. So that was before he'd seen this. So this car turned up with much lower mileage, 31,000 miles, which I did know about. I didn't see the car before I bought it. Much lesser damage and in much better condition, although the paintwork was not in great condition all over the car. So I got pretty much a full respray on the vehicle, and all of the damage really put right free of charge, the mechanical and the assembly work of the parts. I had to buy the parts, so full respray and a full reconstruction of the car really for 3.5k. That's what it really cost me. Was great value. I wouldn't have chosen a midnight blue colour. I think at the time I really wanted a black one, but the fact that this had much lower miles on it, and the first one I'd brought was in a terrible state. It looked like it had been to Beirut, as somebody said to me once when I sold them a pair of speakers. That just encouraged me to go for a lower mileage version, and this popped up on Salvage Market, and I purchased it, and as it turned out, it had one previous owner to me, so I was very happy with the purchase in the end. And the guy's done a fantastic job of repairing the damage, and I'll show you a picture of that and just talk about that damage briefly. So basically the damage was on the front left quarter, so bumper, wing, headlight. I think there were not suspension arm, there were I think the shock absorbers needed replacing, the struts, whatever they're called. So all in all, with the 3.5k, in real terms it cost me for the respray and the assembly work, the parts and the full body respray, I reckon it cost me probably somewhere between 5 and 6k. I bought this car for 16k all in with auction fees, so this car maximum cost me 22k, and that was for a 31,000 mileage, one previous owner, Porsche 911 Carrera S. Now I've now got 34 and a bit miles on it, 34 and a half. So I reckon I've done just over 1,000 miles a year on this. I've had this for 3 years now. So I'm super happy with it. I still really enjoy driving it. It's the manual, not the auto, which for this year would have been the Tiptonic, I believe it's called. Wanted to call it Triptonic. The PDK is the one to go for if you're going to go for an auto, I'm informed, but this is the manual, so it's just really got that fun drivability to it when you're going around corners and you're driving on country lanes and you just want to kind of jump in the car and thrash it around and play around with the how much you're revving it and all the rest of it and accelerate hard into the corners. So it's perfect for me. So anyway, putting all that to one side, and I'll show you a couple of pictures of the first car I bought and this car with the damage as part of this video. Probably you've already seen them by now. Anyway, putting all of that to one side. So, issues I've had with this car since I've had it repaired, and I'm going to ignore all the repair work which I've touched on. Right, so I had an issue with the steering column when I first got the car, and this is because it wasn't replaced as part of the repair work. So when I got the car, the steering wheel was coming towards me and going away from me when I was driving, and I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be like that. So I took it back, or I phoned the guy, and he said no, it's not supposed to be like that. So he was doing up the black one at the same time. I brought a steering column off eBay. I can't remember how much it was, 150 quid, and he fitted it for free, so that was fine. Since then I've had a hydraulic fluid leak, I think, from around this area down here. Now that's because one of the pipes needed replacing. So the pipe, had come out of the connector behind it. It was put back, and I said at the time, put a cable tie around it, which did the job actually for about 1.5 to 2 years. So that was fine. Since then, I had a minor service when I bought the car in 2020. Early 2020, I had a minor service on it. So since then, I had a major service in 2022, around August time. Before that, I've had all of the water pipes replaced because the car was leaking water again. So I think the water coolant pipes I've had all replaced in the vehicle. I think that cost me something like £600. So £600, this is kind of the running total. The minor service was probably 300 quid. I've changed the discs and the brake pads, but I bought those off eBay, so you're talking about maybe 400 quid or 300 quid, maybe 500 for the service, but I class that as kind of wear and tear. So really what we're talking about then is 600 quid for the water coolant pipes to be replaced, and then the service itself, I think from memory, cost £750, and I took it to a place called Porsche Specialist Services in Harold Hill near Romford in the UK, and very good, by the way, highly recommend them. And they advised me when they had the car that it's full service. I think it was £750. They changed the spark plugs. They advised me of various other bits of work that needed doing, one of which of course was that the air conditioning system was not holding pressure and the pipes had become corroded. So they quoted me for this, and because I bought this car as a long-term asset to hand down the family, it's not an investment as such, because I've betrothed this to my offspring. So I had that replaced. So in order to replace the air conditioning pipes, they had to drop the engine out of the vehicle, which is not uncommon for Porsches to do work on the engine or around the engine. So they dropped the engine out of the vehicle, and it took a bit of time. The brake caliper nipples needed reconditioning, but it had a full service in August 22, and from memory that cost around 3.5k. So running total with the water pipes, excluding the discs and pads, which I'm very much classing as wear and tear, I would absolutely say that this has cost me all in 4k, in 3 years now. And okay, I've not put loads of miles on it. I could have put a lot more miles on it. I'm intentionally keeping the mileage low. You know, whilst it's not an investment for me, it will be hopefully an investment for somebody else in the future, or they can pass it along, and the lower the miles the better. And you know, I bought the car with low mileage, it's got low owners, I want to try and keep it that way. Other things to point out, so I think I mentioned in a previous video, I had the exhaust done when the car was being, you know, effectively put back on the road by the body shop. They the guy took it to another company that modifies exhausts, and it just sounds louder and raspier now, particularly when you start it up or when you put your foot down. Other minor issues are the headlights become a little bit condensed, not in the summer, more in the winter, and that's because there's spaces behind the headlights. There's not much I can do about that. I've asked Porsche Specialist Services, that's a common issue. The other slight issue I've had, which I haven't done anything about, and it's just slightly irritating, is the sunroof. And I think it's the seal somewhere on the sunroof. It's that white stuff that I noticed the other day, actually. The sunroof somewhere, it's not, the seal's slightly broken. It just makes a slight reverberation noise when you're going along, which is slightly irritating. If you stick like a folded up receipt and inside the sunroof when you're inside the car, it almost stops that noise. Other than that, you know, it's super fun to drive. So yeah, it's been inexpensive to maintain, inexpensive to buy. Okay, it's a Carrera S, so you know, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? It's an investment. You know, look at some of the older Porsches, you know, 1990 to 1995. What am I talking about? Up to 93. So the 993 model's lovely, and they're rocketed in value. The model before, I'll just try and remember what that model is now. I can't for the life of me think of it, but anyway, the model before that is a nice Porsche, and of course you've got the older models with the really big whale fins at the back. So you know, they are good investments, Porsches, and I think the 997s will soon start to be appreciated as such, particularly those with low mileage and in good condition. And I think you know, whether or not it's got a category on it will become less and less important over time. So you know, if you think in 50 years time, when this car now is 2006, so it is now 17 years old. In 50 years time, it's going to be 67 years old. You know, who's going to give a damn whether or not it's got a category on it? You know, if it's been kept in good condition, it's been serviced regularly by Porsche or Porsche specialist mechanics, it's got low mileage, low owners, you know, that's an investment of sorts. So but for me, it's just really keeping it to drive. Anyway, I'm not going to do really many shots of the inside. I might just open the door. For those of you who haven't seen the inside, you know, as I said I would, it's got this nice grey interior. Really good condition, actually. I've done very little to it, to be honest with you. I've tried to keep it as standard as possible, as stock as possible. This is it's got the chronometer stopwatch at the top there, which is nice. You've got the nice manual gearbox, and you've got the steering wheel controls, which is great. So, and the sunroof. So somebody really spec'd this vehicle out quite nicely when they purchased it. The only other things I would add, which I'm not massively happy about, is you've got this slight discolouring here on the pillar arm, and you've got a stain there, which I could probably get out, and I might get some sort of specialist look at that at some point. Other than that, 34,233, that's the mileage. 2 owner, low mileage, well maintained Porsche 911 Carrera S. So yeah, very happy with it, and I don't think I'm going to part with this. Well, particularly not now I've betrothed it to somebody. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. Yeah, really happy that I've got more subscribers. I was, you know, said I'd have a pass when I got to 30, and now I've got over 80. So thanks guys, and any comments gratefully received. Feel free to comment about the way I purchased this video, the black car, the blue car, your preferences, or anything else you might like to comment on. Bye.